Yo, welcome everybody. I got a brother from Toronto, Canada by the name of Stuntz. We're going to do this interview to get some Canada history. Hope you guys enjoy it. It's super early in the morning. Yeah, I was going to do a live interview right now, so we decided to do it in the morning time.
What up?
What up, Stuntz?
Yes, yes. What are you saying,
Right?
bro?
Yeah, bro.
About time.
I know, huh?
We finally got it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what you
How you
up
doing?
to? I'm doing
Yeah.
pretty good though, man.
Okay,
About
okay.
to start working about like an hour.
Okay, okay. True. Yeah, yeah, I'm all right, you know. I was just going over some of the things, some of the crews that I remember in T-Dot, you know. So,
Okay.
yeah, so
Yeah,
when we get into that discussion, I'm a little more familiar with what I'm talking about.
okay. Yo, tell me
True.
what that means, because I always used to hear that, the T dot. What does the T dot mean?
Yeah, so basically it's a slang term that means Toronto, Ontario. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. So it's like instead of saying just like yeah, it's just because Toronto is like there's the T and then there's the dot and then there's the O, right? So T is for Toronto and then the dot is the like the short form for like just so people instead of saying the dot instead of we just say the dot, you know. So it's just it's just a short form for Toronto, Ontario. That's all it is, really.
Yeah, because I remember the first time I heard that was when Migas was battling with K-Mel, and the dude on the mic, his name was the Cut Father, and he would always say, "Yeah, the T dot O, the
Okay.
T dot O."
Right,
And I was like, "What does that mean, though?" Because I mean, they're representing Boogie Brats, so they kept saying the T dot O, and I was like,
right, right. Okay.
"Yeah,
Yeah, man. So that's all it is. Just a short form for Toronto. You know, Toronto, Ontario. I
yeah,
know there's an Ontario in the States too, huh?
yeah." There is actually. There's Ontario, California is not too far from me, maybe about like 30 minutes away.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I found that out fairly recently.
yeah. That's a
Okay.
trip, though, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Thinking about
So
it. But yeah, so before we jump into your questions, I want to ask you. So you remember my YouTube channel though, like back in the day. I remember you were like one of the first dudes that was commenting on that.
right, right.
Can you tell
Yeah,
me
Lil
about that? Like, what was your experience like when you first started seeing me posting up my footage?
So I remember it was Lil Uprock,
That's
and
my first name, bro. Before Mikey Ice.
right. So I remember you used to post some footage from like the 90s and you know some early freestyle session footage and just some battles that I would look up on YouTube and nobody else had.
Yeah.
I was like, you're the only one who had these specific battles, whether it was Out for Fame freestyle session or I'm trying to think of some other ones. You know, shoot, like yeah, just like stuff from way back in the early, whether it was early 2000s or late 90s or mid 90s, you know,
Exactly.
Beatles Summit maybe I think you
Yeah.
had some of that. But like yeah, I was like, yo, there's nobody else that has this footage, right?
No.
Yeah, especially even Style Elements footage, you know. Shout out to them. So like it was just I was like, yo, man, nobody has this, and this is stuff that I was looking up online. I mean, I would find some videos online when I was on my old computer before YouTube, right? And I was just downloading videos, and
Right.
it was dope because it was just little clips here and there. But then when YouTube came out, I'm like, okay, I'll see if I can find some of that old footage that I used to download, and you're the one who had it, So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I remember that though, bro. I remember I put up the battle when it was Supernaturals versus D, was it called DST?
No, DDT.
DDT.
Yeah, that was a
And
heated battle. I was there for that.
yeah, bro, I forgot the dude that hit me up, but somebody like messaged me directly. He was like, "How'd you get that footage though, bro?"
Right, right.
You know?
It's online now. There's another one of my boys from Hamilton. He posted them up. He posted it up. But like, yeah, the full battle is online. It's a little bit blurry, but it's up there.
You know who got a good amount of footage too that was kind of like on my level too is
Yeah,
Scramble Lock.
yeah. Scamble, exactly. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Scramble Lock. He got that footage.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, he's a b-boy too, but he's been focusing a lot more on locking now, on the funk
Yeah.
style. That so yeah, man, he's another one who collects a lot of footage. He collects a lot of footage from back in the day, and
Hmm.
yeah, he mad history. Like yeah, he's another one. He's like you in that sense,
Yeah, yeah,
collecting.
yeah. You know what though too? I remember some of the first Canadian footage I seen was it was like back in 1995. It was I think a crew called Floor Rock.
Okay,
You remember those guys?
uh, it sounds familiar. I don't
They're
know
from
if I
Canada. They were battling Bag of Tricks.
okay. Floor rock.
It was all brothers though too. It was crazy because like at that battle for the whole night, majority of the crews was all brothers on stage.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Benzo was in that battle. Bunch of people though. I was like, damn. I didn't really know Canada had that many black people that was breaking back in the days in the early 90s. It was pretty much all brothers though.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I mean, it sounds. See, that was probably a little bit before me, I think.
Exactly.
What year was that?
95.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I wasn't even breaking then. Yeah.
He wasn't breaking in.
Yo, back then, I thought breaking was like how everybody else thought, done in the 80s, played out type of thing, you know? And
Hmm.
then, yeah, so it wasn't even, nobody I knew was doing it. I didn't even know about Bag of Tricks. I mean, I heard the name pop up here and there, but I didn't
Hmm.
really know about them. So, yeah.
That's
Mm.
crazy. Okay, so let's jump right into you though. So like, how did you get the name Stunts?
Yeah.
You
Okay,
know,
so,
because reason why before we get into that, because there was already a stunt.
yeah,
You know, we said everybody used to say stunts though too, I guess, but they spelled his name with an S, and yours is with a Z, right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So, okay, so when I started in 97, I,
97.
right, yeah, that's when I started. Late 97, I was like, okay, so I have a gymnastics background and martial arts background, all right?
Hmm.
So I was always flipping over people in elementary school, and I was entering gymnastics competitions. I won every competition I entered, right? And I was even about to go national, but it cost a lot of money to get into the training. Didn't quite have it, and even though, so I didn't really push it, but I said, you know what, I want to train on my own, even though
Hmm.
I'm not able to pay for the training and all that, right? But I still wanted to train. I still had love for it, and I still wanted to just develop on my own, and that's what I was doing. And watching movies, and I think I was figuring maybe I can get into on TV or something, acting,
Right.
whatever it is. Like I was determined to just keep training on my own, and I also was doing martial arts a lot, and I figured, hey, uh, this like I'm just gonna keep going on my own. One day I seen some guys breaking in the cafeteria at my school, and they were dope. I saw them, started practicing on my own, and just watching videos online, watching rap videos and things like that. Started getting into that, and eventually, after a year, I started to get into practicing with these fellas because they said, hey, why don't you practice with us? This was after a school dance. I was just doing my own thing, and nobody was impressed with my breaking after a year. I'm just watching rap videos. I didn't have any actual foundation training, anything like that. So I would just do a backflip. If I wanted to impress somebody, I would do a backflip or I would do a front flip, whatever it is, you know. So I was like, let me just go through some names that I could use to get into my, that name that I could use as a b-boy. And I was, you know, I know what's respected is to be different. So I said, I started off, believe it or not, I was going to use the name Dizzy. All right. And eventually I found out, but because I went to practice, and it was a practice at Scarborough Town Center. So there was already a Dizzy, you know? So I'm like, okay, I can't use that name. And because I was like into power moves as well, and I'm like, I want to, then I even tried Taz, that was taken. Then I was going to use the name Trips, that was also taken. Because like, just from doing 3-step, I was like, okay, I'm tripping over my leg. And I didn't know what the move was called yet, right?
Okay.
But the 3-step and even the helicopter coffee grinder, it kind of looked like I'm tripping over my legs. So I figured, hey, I'll just call myself that. No, that didn't work because it was already taken. So I've already gone through three names, cycled through three names, and I can't use any of them. So then I'm like, yo, I got a gymnastics background. I flip over people. I'm very athletic. I like jumping around, all that stuff. Let me call myself Stuntz, right? And I said, you know what? Even before, I didn't know about Stuntman, but I figured there might be somebody named Stuntman, right? Didn't know about him, even though I was watching freestyle session and different videos here and there. But I didn't know any of those b-boys. And when the MC is on the mic, you can't really hear what they're saying. It's kind of distorted, if you remember how it was back then. So I didn't know. Even if the MC called out a b-boy on the floor, you can't really hear the name. It's kind of distorted. So I said, you know what? There might be somebody named Stuntman. I'm just going to call myself Stuntz. I don't want anyone calling me Stuntman. It's just going to be Stuntz, and I'm going to spell it differently. Capital Z, capital S, and the middle letters are small, and a capital Z. So that would separate us. And then years and years later, found out about Stuntman, you know? And I'm like, yo, we spell our name differently. And I've had this name for years already. And I feel like I've been representing the name Stuntz just for the way I break. You know, I flip off walls. I've been flipping over people, off people, you know, and types of things. So I'm like, yeah, this name matches me so well, right? So, and I've already cycled through names, and then I'm like, yo, there's already b-boys that have repeated names, and they stuck with it. There's Dizzy from motion disorders, and I found out there's a Machine from Japan. I was watching a battle. What was it, b-boy unit? Yeah. And there's one of the judges was a b-boy named Machine, and then who else? There's another b-boy Pocket, believe it or not.
Okay.
I was yeah. So you know, it wasn't any kind of beef thing because I've talked to him too, right? And we had some good conversation on MSN back in the day. Do you remember that? Yeah. So yeah, we got a lot of the same views in breaking. So I just kind of kept it. I just kept it, and I said, yo, people will know the difference between us because of the way we spell our name. And I don't use the long form Stuntman. I just use Stuntz, right? Recently, within the last 5 years, Stuntz all day. So that's another way to tell us apart. You know? So yeah, that's basically how that went. You know, just from my gymnastics career and from just being raw, strip flipping over people.
Okay.
That's how I came up with the name. You know what I mean? So,
Man, that's some dope history right there. I wasn't actually though. Do you ever remember a crew in Canada? They were called Ultimate Unit.
no, that was probably before my time as well.
Yeah. I used to see them because I seen the first Boogie Brats tape before. Just to prove a point, there was another one, and this this was just like only like Migas, Mighty Mouse, Jesse, Gadget, Frank.
Okay.
And I think there was somebody else. KML wasn't even in Boogie Brats at that time.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And they used to battle with this other crew though. I guess they were called Ultimate Units though. You know. maybe it was just like some friendship thing, you know. It was like another crew. I guess they were kind of like friends with, because like it was like the same thing with Style Elements though. It's like Style Elements and Floor Rockers were two
Right,
separate crews, you know, but they were friends and they would always practice with each other though too.
right. Okay,
Because J Rock used to be in Floor Rockers before he was Style Elements, and that's how Crumbs and Remind met
right.
each other. No, that's how J Rock and Crumbs met. You know, they were battling, you know, but they were two from two separate crews. So Floor Rockers would practice with Style Elements.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the way you described it sounds like a crew that combined together,
Yeah,
different crews
I,
combining together. And that I remember what used to happen back in the day was they would call those super crews. Super crews were already called super crews before super crew. You know
hmm
what I mean? Yeah, so if Ultimate Unit, that sounds like kind of something that happened, you know, combining crews.
yeah.
Yeah, different crew members to make one crew. Yeah. Okay. No, I don't think I've heard of them, but that was also in the early '90s or mid '90s.
I think somebody from right now put if you can read in the comments, somebody named TJ SAN.
Intricate. Intricate. Okay.
Yeah, there he goes.
It's okay. Got you. Yeah. What up, TJ?
There it is. Yep, see, he already knows what time it is though. That's what I
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah. I used to practice with him.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. On the um at the rec center, like the gray carpet. We used to
Oh,
practice on this
nice.
carpet. They used to burn us every time we were breaking. It was horrible, but it was a good. Yep,
97.
97. He already knows. Yeah, man. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
tight.
Astro, B-boy Astro.
Yeah. So, what else can I really ask you though? Like, let me ask you, as far as like Toronto, and what was the next rivalry city for Toronto though? Was it like, was it Ontario or what, I mean, what was it?
Well, I mean, I know Montreal and Toronto had a little bit of a rivalry
Okay.
if you're talking about cities. Then there was Vancouver also had a little bit of a rivalry. Yeah.
hmm
So, um, yeah, there was oh snap, what's the name of that crew? Shoot, it'll come to me. It'll come to me later on. But yeah, there was like there was a lot of just I know there was a lot of Toronto beef. There was like crews
hmm
that just within Toronto that had beef with each other. But like later on into maybe the mid 2000s, there was a few beefs between cities and stuff like that. But yeah,
Yeah,
Toronto, the beef in Toronto was pretty heavy. There's even documentaries on it. So yeah,
bro, I seen a video. I think what was his name? Something Buddha from Canadian Floor Masters, right?
yeah,
Remember he used to do a battle like in Canada where he would have like Toronto versus Vancouver. It was like a big thing that he would do.
yeah, yeah. That's right.
And I remember it was the Boogie Brats had entered one time, bro, and like they was getting it was getting heated with other crews back in the day though from other cities on. I used to think like, man, it's kind of like it was like really personal. I could tell like the way that Migas was though. He was like he was kind of like very aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, especially in that battle you mentioned, the DDT versus Supernaturals. Like I was there for that. That battle was so heated. I mean, uh, like it was they were arguing constantly. There was a lot of arguing, and it almost seemed like the arguing was just as much as the battle. Like it would be
hmm
half the battle arguing, half the battle like breaking. And I was practicing at the side. I don't remember I don't think I battled that year, but I remember I was practicing at the side because one of the Back to the Underground, that's the event where it happened actually, Back to the Underground. So we would they would have their battles and then I may have entered, I don't remember very well. Because I think that was the year it was either 99 or 2000. So anyways, yeah. Uh I was just practicing at the side and I just remember it got so heated, people were yelling and all that. And that was probably the most heated battle I've seen in Toronto.
Yeah.
Breaking battles, not even Toronto, just all together. You know,
hmm
yeah. So it was pretty intense. Yeah, this
Can
is a long history. A lot of because biting was a big deal back in the day. So it was like people got in fights. You know, there's people that got put in the hospital because if they were called a biter, and you know, yeah, it was serious.
I
Yeah,
can't believe that because it was kind of serious like that too. I hear in Cali though. Like if
right,
you if
right.
you if you will bite somebody's moves though, bro, like I seen people get punched in the
Yep.
mouth. I seen people just straight up just like crew on crew, everybody just swinging on each other and like I was like, man, no, bro, like I didn't think breaking was supposed to get that
Yeah,
personal. You know what I'm saying? Whereas actually it becomes physical,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
It got pretty serious. You know, over here.
So, so let me ask you, who is this guy that everybody keeps talking about? I guess he was Dizzy's teacher and Amiga's teacher. What's his name? Lego?
Yeah, Lego. Yeah, he's from what I've been told and what he's told me, he's pretty much the start of Supernaturals. You know,
Oh, he
and
started Supernaturals?
yeah, I think him and uh possibly Stretch. You know what? I can't say I'm 100% sure. I know he was one of the main I guess you could say the head of the crew.
Hmm.
He's like the main choreographer. He choreographed a lot of the the big routines that you've seen. I think he choreographed when they entered Battle of the Year.
Hmm.
He choreographed that routine, you know. But he kind of like stays behind the scenes. Yeah, and and I know there's a Lego in the States too, but he spells it Leg and then dash O, and the O is a capital letter. Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
that's because of the way he threads. I remember he was telling me that he's like the Lego leg, and that's actually a move. And he likes to kind of he's like threading through an O. He kind of makes an O with his leg, and he's threading through it. So I think that's how he came up
Oh,
with
I
it.
see.
Yeah, so leg O. But yeah, he was like the
Oh, okay.
choreographer for Supernaturals, from what I was told, and he entered some battles too. But he
Hmm.
kind of stayed behind the scenes, you know.
Yeah. So when you first kind of started breaking, did you ever hear of Casper?
Yeah, the name came up a lot. Yeah, it came up a lot. And I remember he was. I mean, I never met him in person,
Hmm.
but I remember his name came up a lot. And eventually, I heard that he was in Boogie Brats, and I eventually checked out some footage of him, you know. And
Hmm.
the guy's like a firecracker, you know,
And
so
he's
fast.
which part of Canada is he from?
That I'm not sure. I have to, yeah,
I want to say Ottawa, but I don't really want to like say confirm that.
yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah,
Okay.
somebody in the comments might be able to update, you know.
Yeah. So, Stunts, I've noticed you've been doing street shows as far as I know, probably like the last 10 years, that I've seen you do it.
Right.
Is
Yeah,
that,
it's
that is
actually
that yeah, is that something that you do on a regular? Is that like is that every day or is that like every once a week or how does that go for you?
it's pretty much every day. Okay, yeah, but Mr. Jag, shout out to him. He said Vancouver. I think
Okay.
that's who he meant. Where he said Casper's from, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, he can confirm. Yeah, yeah. So I do street shows. I've been performing for 17 years, right? And my crew is
Okay.
called Concrete Styles. So we basically started in 2005, and
Mm-hmm.
at first it was like we were just it was kind of like this. I used to go to one of the ways I used to get like when I would uh go to any breaking events, or the way I was able to break was at first it was at school, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was like, yo, see, people don't know who, if they're not from like back in the 90s, they don't know that it wasn't so simple as going on Google and just searching for breakers or going on Facebook or anything like that. For me, I had to go outside dressed as a b-boy, hoping other b-boys would recognize me and be like, yo, man, there's a jam coming up, there's a practice coming up or anything like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of a lonely b-boy when I started. It was just like I would go to practice at school, and then some of the dudes that I was practicing with, it was they would get not be interested in breaking anymore. So then I'd have to find other b-boys to practice with, and it was like that. So yeah, just from going to events and hopefully meeting some breakers at clubs and all of that, it was how I was able to get my practice in, right? So eventually I was able to link up with some fellas that were breaking too and even doing other styles. And one day we went to this event. It's called Taste of the Dance Floor, and that's where it was like a outdoor street event. They sell food and do all kinds of stuff for the people.
Mm.
And we just started throwing down, right? And a big crowd just developed out of that. So then we were just breaking for a little while, and the crowd got bigger and bigger. And my boy's like, "Yo, put out a hat and make some money off of these people, right?" And we're like, "Sure, why not?" Right? And then started making some money. Then the cops they shut us down, and they're like, "Yo, you
Mhm.
can't do this, and you need a permit and all this stuff." And then and this is back in like 2004, maybe 2000, yeah, 2004, I think, around that time, where the event happened. And then they're like, "Yeah, you need a permit, all this stuff." And we're like, "Okay, so how do we get a permit?" And then I said, "Yo, to my boys, we gotta do street shows. Let's do this for real. You know, I'm serious about this, right?"
Mhm.
So over time, I started doing a little bit of research, and then I wasn't sure if my boys were serious, but like my they were still battling, and you know, one of my boys, Tricky Troubles, he was battling at Back to the Undergrounds and different events, and so the idea came up, and then one of my boys, Mr. One, he's like, I said to him like, "Yo, let's start doing shows for real." We got our permits, and then he had the boombox. We put it out at this area in Toronto called Yonge and Dundas,
Mhm.
and we just started breaking on the concrete. And then my boy Tricky Troubles, he's like, "Yo, I got a floor. I won this linoleum floor from a battle that I won, and yeah, they gave me the floor. Let's use this floor to break on." And we're like, "Yo, that's sick. We're set." We started breaking, and then yo, we did our shows like that. Like that's basically how we started. But we didn't even have a crew name at the time, you know.
Mhm.
We Tracer One and Tricky Troubles, we were just breaking outside, and we didn't even have a show format. We were just throwing down. We had a bucket out, and people would just give us money, and it was like a practice for us. And we would use that money to go clubbing to break some more, you know. And we
That's
still had our regular
crazy.
jobs. Yeah, we still
Yeah.
had our regular jobs, but like we were doing our shows to make extra money until we were able to replace it, you know. So yeah,
So is that what you do full time too? Is that like your full time job?
that's what I do full time. You know, the other guys in my crew they started doing some. Well, they kind of branched off. A lot of the members are still dancing. They're still breaking, but like yeah, some members got regular jobs. Tracer One, he's working at a bank. Troubles, he's doing so many things. He's like hosting events. He's battling. He's teaching. He's traveling. He's trying to get into movies and stuff. So like he's just branched off into a whole bunch of stuff, you know. But we did get to a point where we were all able to say that we can dance for a living, you know, and that's what we were doing. Yeah, just performing and winning contests here and there. And yeah, I mean, the first year we started, we got sponsored by Nike, you know, and
Mhm.
that's because this one dude came up to us and he's like, "Yo, I see you guys got a big crowd. I want you to represent." He was a brother, you know. He was a
Mhm.
real, he was really into hip hop, and he happened to be working for Nike, and he happened to be like the one of the executives. So he came
Oh,
up to us,
okay.
yeah, he came up to us and he's like, "Yo, you guys are representing. I want to see you guys represent some Nike gear. You know, I love the way y'all are doing your thing." And I didn't believe him. I thought this man's just talking crap. Let me get your information. I'm gonna send you some gear. I didn't believe him for one second, you know. And I was still living with my mom at the time. And then all of a sudden, in the mail, you just see somebody delivering boxes and boxes of Nike gear. We're talking 3 pairs of shoes for each of us, three t-shirts, and 3 pairs of pants. And then we also had headbands and wristbands and all this stuff. And I'm looking in the boxes. I'm like, what? I'm like, this dude was not playing, you know. And then I told my crew, and they're like, whoa, you know. Everybody was all shocked, right? And I'm like, yo, man, like people are seeing us, you know. We can take this somewhere, you know. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's what happened. And then they also sponsored us for the following year too. And then years later, we ended up not only getting hooked up with gear, but they started paying us for shows on top of it, you know. So
Oh man.
yeah, it was dope. We ended up working for Nike for a little while, you
Okay.
know. Yeah.
So like it's like like on a good day, like what can you average like on a good day, like when you out there street shows? Because I know I hear in Santa Monica, I'm like 15 minutes away from Santa Monica. Flea Rock is out there, you know, and sometimes K-Mel go out there. And from what I was told, between all those dudes, like on a good day, they probably make between maybe a thousand, or sometimes like in the summertime on a good day, maybe 2,000, like for the day.
Well, good for them, man. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we've done up to that before,
Okay.
uh, as a crew, right? So like it's one of those things where yeah, we like the way I look at it is I kind of try to break it down to hourly rate, you know,
Mhm.
kind of work it out into that. So and from I've even heard from other street performers too. They make it can be up to 50 an hour. It all depends on how well somebody performs, the location, and the time of day and all that stuff. And yeah, all those factors are put into it, you know.
Mhm.
You know, the way I got into it full time was because actually even before I started doing street shows, I was dancing for the Blue Jays, you know.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, probably a lot of people didn't know that they had a dance team. It wasn't even like they're called J Force. So
Mhm.
I was doing that. We were going on the dugout and dancing in between innings while there was a pitching change, and we would do our thing. And it was kind of dangerous on the dugout because it's very rough surface. We could
Yeah.
fall off if we do a wrong move, and luckily that never happened to us. Very
Mhm.
fortunate. So yeah, that was something I was doing. I was already doing shows for different people and companies and stuff before I got into street shows. So I was
Okay.
already just getting hired for things, but it wasn't on a regular basis. So just from doing that and doing Blue Jays, I was like, yo, and I want to like do something full time. I wanted to get into performing outside, but like I didn't really know how to do it. And yeah, this is even deeper than before I started because like I heard KML was doing street shows, but I didn't know. I didn't see any footage. There was no footage. I didn't see any footage of anybody doing street shows before I got into it,
Mhm.
right? So I think that's why our show was very original. And yeah, so I was just talking to people. I was talking to my boy Handles, and he was telling me, he's like, yeah, man, came out used to do street shows in Toronto, and he did
Mhm.
solo shows, and I'm like, solo shows? How the heck do you do a solo show, right? And then he's like, yeah, he would talk to the crowd. He had a very loud voice and all this stuff. And then another guy that was doing solo shows before me was Pizzas. You know, I don't know if you heard of him, but yeah, he was doing solo shows, and I happened to catch one of his shows one time, and just like the ending part of it, and so I said, "Yo, I want to get into this." And yeah, after my crew kind of, we didn't break up, but we just people had different responsibilities, so we would get together when there was a big show, but like people had other things to do, so we weren't always to get together. We weren't always able to get together for street shows. So I said I got to do some shows on my own, right? And I came up with that by I said, you know what? I don't like talking to people. I lose my voice when I yell at the crowd, you know?
Mhm.
So I had to come up with a way to do a show on my own. And I said, people got to come to me. I got to find a way to attract people without saying anything, right? And that's the way I do now. I used to wear I don't know if you remember back in the day, I used to wear the V for Vendetta mask, right? And they used
Yeah.
to scare people. It was a Halloween thing at first, but it used to scare people. But I figured I'll use that to get attention. And then it happened to get attention, and I didn't have to say anything. So I just kept doing shows like that for like almost a decade, and then I said I gotta wear an outfit. I gotta wear an outfit that'll attract the people, and I still don't have to say anything. And I've been wearing my outfit that I wear now, and it's been working, you know. And I have a sign.
Mm.
I have a whole setup that attracts people where I don't have to say anything, you know. And there was actually a dude from New York that used one of my ideas and used it in New York, And yeah, he gave me credit, but like at first I was like, "Yo, man, you took my show. Like, what are you doing?" You know. But like, he's like, "No, no. Like everywhere I go, I tell you." And there's people who've come from New York, and they've said, "Hey, man, there's a dude that's doing your show. He always give you respect. He give you credit because your show's original. You know, that type of thing."
Hmm.
So I said, "All right, that's cool. As long as he knows where it came from, you know." So
Yeah,
yeah, man.
that's that's pretty crazy though, man. I want to ask you too, like in your personal opinion, who would you say was like, because like here on the West Coast, like people, when you think of one particular breaker, everybody always shoots for Remind. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of people though, but his name comes up like every single time. And I want to say for Canada, who would you say
Yeah.
that people really, I guess, want to say they put up in that bracket where they're just like this guy's like the GOAT, in your opinion?
There's quite a few of them. Um, there's Gizmo. Then
Okay.
there's yeah, of course there's Migas, and a lot of people spell his name wrong.
Yeah.
Megas is the correct spelling. People
Okay.
spell it Megus, but it's Megas. If you look at his Instagram, it's spelled like that
Okay.
too. Yeah, I just wanted to say that. But yeah, if we're talking about like past, yeah, Gizmo, Migas,
Hmm.
past and present, I guess you could say, were more recent than present. Dizzy. Then of course there's trying to think. Then there's Phil Wizard because he's been killing
Oh, okay.
it recently.
Yeah.
And yeah, uh, trying to think of who else. There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people.
Ben,
Uh-huh.
Benzo inspired me a lot.
I
You
like
know,
Benzo
yeah,
though, bro.
he inspired me a lot. You know, he I think he's underrated.
Hmm.
Even Flex is underrated too.
I'm gonna talk to
He
Flex though too.
yeah,
Me and him
he's another
gonna go
one.
live.
Okay, dope. Yeah. You know what? Flex, I gotta give him a lot of respect. Benzo and Flex out of Bag of Tricks, those guys, we've had some deep conversations, and if it wasn't for them, for those fellas, I probably wouldn't be doing it the way I am now. Because one of the things they told me was anytime we're doing shows is, well, okay, this is what Benzo said. He said that anytime you're doing shows, you want to get hired for a show, you're trying to promote yourself, anything like that. He's like, remember, the company, the client, they need you more than you need them, you know?
Hmm.
And that's one thing that unfortunately some b-boys they get desperate because they're trying to get some shows in and maybe get hired for an event. So they'll take whatever type of pay they throw at us, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever type of treatment. They just want to dance, you know? And I was like that too. When I started, I was like, yo, I just want to dance. If I get paid, that's a bonus, right? But then when you get into the business side, you start to understand. And that's one of the things that Benzo told me that stuck in my head. He's like, they need you more than you need them. Remember that. Because if they don't hire you for a show because they're like, oh, you charge too much or whatever, they got to find
Hmm.
somebody else. And good luck finding somebody else that's at the same skill level or, you know, does what you do or what, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's one of those things. So that stuck out in my head and it's helped me moving forward, you know? And I've talked to Flex a lot about like just the business side of things as well. And he's
Yeah.
been very helpful. In fact, Flex, he gave me one of my first linoleum floors to dance on. And it was probably the dopest floor that I was practicing on. It was yeah. He had good taste in floors.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So,
But
Stuntz,
yeah,
have you ever been to California before?
no, never
Wow.
been there. Never been there. But I've been hearing lots of stories about Venice Beach and all that. I know they
Yeah,
do a lot of
bro.
beach shows there too, huh?
They do shows every day at Venice Beach, every single day.
Yo, you know what's dope is because when I started, a lot of people were like, "Oh, you should move off into other things, and how long are you gonna do street shows? You can't do this for the rest of your life, and all this stuff, right?" And I used to get put down, but I kept it going. I kept doing my thing, and it was kind of looked at as like doing street shows. That's something to
Hmm.
look down on. That's like a bum. Like who does
Hmm.
doing street shows like you're begging for money type of thing, right?
Hmm.
And after seeing guys like some of the fellas you mentioned, like Flea Rock and K Mel and I even seen some videos you posted, Remind's doing street shows too, right?
Yeah.
And I heard Crumbs even talk in some interviews saying that he used to do some street shows. And even one of the videos I seen of Style Elements, there was a drummer, bucket drumming, I think he was doing, and Style Elements was getting down. They were throwing down on the concrete, right? So it's like there's b-boys at the international level doing street shows, and then people want to talk about, oh, you know, street shows is like a bum type of thing to do, you know. And there's b-boys who've maybe retired or semi-retired from international battling, and they're doing street shows. So it's like street shows is something that can be taken to whatever level anybody wants it to be taken to. Like I mentioned, we got sponsored by Nikes, you know, so it's one of those things that like people shouldn't look down on it. They think it's like begging or whatever, but it's a ignorant mentality.
Yeah, you know who else does street shows too?
Who?
Victor.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Red Bull champion, bro. He does street shows out here.
That's dope. I had no idea. You know? Even, I mean, I heard James Brown before he got big was doing street shows.
Who else does street shows? Venom does street shows. Who else?
Okay.
Man, dude.
I think I've seen a clip of him, possibly.
Yeah. Let's see what
I met a member of Skill Methods at there was one event. So it wasn't even an event. It was a bar we used to go to called Andy Pool Hall, and he just happened to be in the cipher, and he was throwing down motion. So shout out to him. Yeah, from Skill Methods. He's dope, and he's a tall b-boy too. Like for him to be able to throw down in the cipher, a small cipher, and still, you know, be plate was impressive. Yeah.
Why Not said something that was he says the most respected dance in the streets like that. It's also an honest way to make money without. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Why Not though too. I never looked at street shows as being anything bad. I thought it was amazing because Animation, the popper, bro, he's been at Venice Beach. He was at Venice Beach since like 1983, almost to the day that he passed away though. And this dude, he bought a Benz. He bought a Mercedes Benz doing street shows, bro.
I heard. I remember he was even. I watched some of his shows. He was even talking to the crowd, and he was saying. He was mentioning. I don't remember what car he mentioned, but because he has more than one. He had more than one car, not just a Benz.
Yeah.
He had a few, I think, right? So he was mentioning one of the cars that he got, and I guess he was sort of. It wasn't really bragging. It was more sort of just putting the crowd in their place to be like, yo, don't think I'm begging for your money. I'm providing a service, and if you respect the service, you're welcome to tip, you know? That type of thing. Yeah.
Yo, Mr. Jack said Motion is from Canada. Yeah, I think he's from Alberta.
Yeah, but and he moved to the States, and when I met him, he was breaking at Andy Pool Hall. We were in the cipher, you know?
Yeah, I met Motion back in 2001 off of bboy.com.
Yo, how many people know about that site? Let me tell you, that site, bboy.com, before people were posting videos online, at least not before posting videos, more so before posting tutorials. bboy.com was doing that, but with stick figures. There were b-boy tutorials, stick figures, you know? And if somebody was like, if they would, and they had like descriptions of how to do moves, you know, put your leg here, put your hand here, all this stuff, right? And they would have to describe it in like essays. It would be like an essay. And I remember for me to learn Flair, that was how I learned, from just the description on bboy.com. And I think it was Crazy Cujo. He posted the description of how to do Flair, and he had to do it in detailed description. And then there was like a little stick figure graphic image of somebody doing Flair, and it was like that, you know? And you would see it was like when you look at now versus back then, where they got actual people showing the move, it's like we had to watch stick figures to learn moves, you know?
Bro, the bboy.com was everything though, man. That was the first site that I went on, and everybody was on there. I met Little Bear from Canada on bboy.com.
Okay, cool.
I met Motion.
Yeah,
Anybody would come on bboy.com, like everybody was on there, and that was like the big thing. This is like 2000, the year
yeah,
2000.
yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I used to go on that site quite a bit, man. I remember even BreakCheck.com was another one.
Okay, I don't think I heard of that one.
Yeah, there was uh uh Break Check. There was a lot of dope footage on that, and I remember one of the events. I think it might have been one of the B-boy cities, right? But that crazy clip you might remember of B-boy Nightcrawler.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember that clip where he does windmill, air flare,
Yeah.
more than one, not two air flares, but he did like air flare and landed on his back,
Hmm.
the over rotated one. Then he went into baby mills, and then he went up into 90, and then he did two 90s, and he got up, and everybody went nuts. Man, I remember after seeing that clip, I was running around in my house. I was like, holy yo, I was tripping out, man. And then I showed my boys, and everybody tripped out. It was crazy. And then Curious George was the first one I seen do air flares, like air flares more than one. Ivan was the first one I seen do an air flare, but Curious George was the first one I seen do multiple air flares, right? And
Mm.
then and then there was B-Boy Mondo on that site too,
Hmm.
in one of the clips. And then there was Blitz. Then there was oh snap, trying to think.
Dang, bro, you going? Yeah, you taking it back.
Yeah, yeah, like there was even Sancho. There was another one. Sancho was the first one I seen. He did running. He would walk on his hands, and then like as if he was running, but like, and then he would stop, and then he would do an air flare and catch it into flares. Mill, yeah, man, you were killing. It was the Texas B-boys. Like those Texas B-boys were like doing stuff that the Koreans were doing before the Koreans were even known. You know,
Yeah, bro.
their power was insane, and it was like they weren't getting as much notice as they should have. You know,
Hmm.
because a lot of them. I remember I was even talking to Nightcrawler. He was telling me he's like, yeah, he wasn't really into his footage being on the internet. He doesn't really like. He likes to just be in the moment. You know, so
Hmm.
he even though he did lots of stuff before he was caught online, he wasn't really into like it being shown out there. You know.
Mm.
So yeah, he was just more into being into the moment rather than just it being, oh, it's recorded and all that stuff. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, Stunts.
Eboy.com was
I just,
a dope site.
yeah, I just want to say though, I'm gonna get ready to be heading out soon because I got to start work. I'm looking at the time pretty soon.
Okay, okay.
But even though this was a short interview, I just want to say I appreciate you though, bro, because me and you have been we've been going through the internet for like almost like the last, what, 13 years?
Yeah, probably about that.
13,
I think
14 years?
yeah, 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 about that. It was a message on Facebook that came up, and then I saw you on it, and I remember I told you that like I already know about you before we even got introduced. I told you that I know about you from
Yeah.
watching your videos on YouTube. You know, and I've seen
I think that's really,
videos of you too. I've seen videos of you, either
yeah.
somebody else posted or you posted, and I'm like, yo, man, you were killing it. But you were killing it.
Yeah, bro. Like it's like I've always loved breaking so much those stunts though. Like I was really into it before it really got it kind of like started catching on because I was already breaking before social media and like all that stuff though too.
Right,
And
me too.
I've always just tried to stay crisp at what I do because a lot of people think like, oh, Mikey just do top rock. I was doing everything,
Yeah,
head freezes, footwork, like head slides, everything though, bro. But a lot of
yeah, man.
times too, I kind of felt like I wanted to keep it off the internet because I know a lot of people be biting, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? But recently, I just kind of started showing a little bit more like older stuff of me and like more of myself though too. But I appreciate that because a lot of people do give me respect when I show up to the jams though. Like I could tell people like they're just like, oh shit, here comes Mikey Ice right now, And I just sit there and watch though. I'm more like a fan, Like I still break all the time too, but the level is so crazy though, bro. It's like I just like document it because these dudes are doing like the new guys are just amazing though, man. Like you
And
know,
you know how I look at that too, because one of the things that like I remember just from auditioning for either it's a commercial or a movie. or something like that. There was one commercial I did. It was a commercial for the store, running shoes, and it was a store and a running shoe commercial at the same time. And I auditioned, and there were guys that I would look at. I'd be like, "Yo, these guys are better than me." I'm like, "There's no way I'm getting this." Right? Ended up getting it over the guys that I thought were better than me. And you know what it was? It wasn't that the guys. It wasn't so much that they were better than me. Why they didn't get the part? It's because they liked my style. You know. So that can be looked at in any way, whether it's battling. If people like your style, doesn't matter who's better than you. Whoever you look at as better, they like your style, then you already have an advantage. That's all.
Yeah.
That's already something that you have separate from anyone else. Even if they have more moves, even if they have the way you can put your moves together, that's you.
I feel the same way, like when it comes to like doing interviews and people
Yeah.
showing like footage and like Korean rock, you know, even though he might have more followers than me, it's
Right.
like I I come way before him though, bro. It's like I'm light years before you
Mhm.
though. You get what I'm saying? And not only do I have the footage, I know the people that's on the footage. I'm not just putting up a clip
Right.
and then putting Mikey Ice TV on and it's like I know Lego, I know K-Mel, I know Jesse, I know Dizzy, I know like all these people that I post up, I have relationships with them.
Right.
And everybody knows that. And that's the difference between me and Korean rock.
Right. Right. Yeah, I've seen some
Yeah.
of the stuff Korean rock posts. Yeah. So
Yeah, he puts all of his logos on everybody's stuff, and I'm thinking like, to me in my eyes, that's not really too cool because it's kind of like you're getting credit off of other people's labor, though. You kind of get what I'm saying? Like it's like you're taking their footage and you're putting your logo on it, but it's like the footage has already been up. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I snatch something off of YouTube and then I just put my logo on Mikey Ice TV over Air Force footage. It's like it's Air Force's footage, though. It's not my footage.
okay, I see what you're saying.
And
Yeah.
that's what he does though. And I know it's like everybody gives him credit. He says he's the b-boy historian, but Smurf said it first. Smurf was like, "Yo, on b-boy world, Mikey Ice was the first dude to start putting the footage up first, on especially on YouTube. You know that though too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was
Yeah.
the first though. Like it was before Korean Rock. It was before all these guys though. And a lot of people they still recognize that. And that's all I want. I just want to be recognized though. I'm not saying like I'm the king of anything. I just want you to know that, like, when it comes to documenting and doing interviews, I was
Right.
interviewing Romine them like back in '94. It's about to be 2023, though. That's
Yeah.
20 some years ago.
Yeah.
I've been doing interviews for over 20 something years, though, bro, consistently.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You
Almost
know?
30. Yeah. Almost
Yeah,
30 years.
exactly. You're right. You know what I'm saying? So I'll run with that. I don't have any hate like towards that guy, but I just want people to know, like, before you give him credit, though, you got to remember who's original, though. Like, that's me.
Right. Right. Exactly. You know, and you bring something different to the table, and that's
Exactly.
how I look at it. That's how I look at it. Where whether it's like even whether it's battling or whether it's auditioning for something, you know, you bring your own personality to
Hmm.
the audition, to the battle, whatever it is, and even if somebody might be looked at as maybe they have more moves, they have more content, whatever it is, if you have something to you bring something that somebody else doesn't bring, then you could get liked. Uh, you can get favored over that person. You know,
Hmm.
and if you're looking to whether it's a judge that you're looking to get the favor of, or if it's an audition and you're trying to get that audition and be in the movie or commercial or whatever it is, they can they can end up favoring you just because they like your style, even if somebody else is better, you know, or has more content, whatever it is. People are still gonna check your stuff out, even if Korean Rock has more footage or more content, whatever, because you, like you said, you know the people, you have a relationship with the people, you talk to them and know in depth who the
Yeah.
person is, and you've met them, you know.
And I
So
met them. Yeah. And I still break.
yeah,
And I
exactly.
still break. You're right, though, man. I appreciate that, Stunt. So thank you once again, though, bro. I want to say, if anything, we should do like a part two.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
Because I know there's more that you want to talk about, and there's more that I want to talk about too as well. We haven't really got into too deep, but I just wanted to do something because we've been me and you've been going back with this idea for almost about a year.
Yeah, maybe longer.
Yeah, so I just say, you know what, let's just get it done, though, bro. And then definitely we'll do a part two. I think if anything, the weekend will be more better because that means that we can just talk as long as I want and I'm not on the schedule.
All right. Yeah, sounds good, bro.
All right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. All
Okay,
right, man.
brother.
Yeah.
So I'll be in touch with you and have a good day.
All right, you too. Mad respect.
All right. Peace.
All right. Take care.